Have you ever been on a road trip and you weren't quite sure where you were going? A couple of years ago, I was with my wife and we were headed out of town on our honeymoon to the mountains of North Georgia, and I had a problem. See, I'd been using the Maps feature on my phone to find our way, but we were so far out of civilized territory that we didn't have any cell phone reception. So there I was, on the road with my wife, trying to figure out how are we going to get to where we're going. Now, thankfully, I had thought of this possibility a few days earlier. So I had gone on Craigslist and I had found someone in our area who was selling a real GPS. You know, the kind that plugs in to your car cigarette lighter and plugs up on the dash with that suction cup thing. See, I realized that the thing about GPS units is they have a direct connection to the satellite, so they can show you the way to go. So I did it. I pulled it out, plugged it in, put in the address, and wouldn't you know, within just a few minutes, we were on our way again. I needed direction. Well, we've been in a series as a church called Rock Solid, Time-Tested Truths to Strengthen Your Soul. And this message that we're in right now is called How Jesus Rescues Us. And I shared part one for our church family on Saturday night, but I wanted to share the rest of the message via video in a series of short clips for you. So this is actually part two of the message, How Jesus Rescues Us. And see, the thing about directions is that we all need them in life. In fact, that's one of the ways that Jesus rescues us. Let me show you. We've been looking at something called the 95 questions, and it's a condensation of a time-tested catechism, statement of faith, that's been around for 350 years, called the Westminster Shorter Catechism. Let me show you what we find about Jesus in question 24, speaking of the role Jesus plays in rescuing us. Question 24 from the 95 questions says this: what does Christ do in the role of our prophet? Christ offers salvation to those who will hear it, as God's will is revealed by His Word and His Spirit. See, one of the ways that Jesus rescues us is He is our prophet. He speaks to us by His Word and Spirit. We can find it this way in Scripture. If you have a Bible, you can turn to John 20 or just follow along on the screen. John 20 verses 30 through 31 has this fascinating little blurb from the Apostle John about the life of Jesus. Look at what he writes. He says, Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of His disciples that are not written in this book. But these are written so that you may believe Jesus is the Messiah, that means anointed one, the Son of God, and by believing you may have life in His name. What's this about? See, Jesus spoke many good things, but one of the ways that He validated His authority as a prophet was the same way that many of the prophets in the Old Testament validated their authority. He did miracles. He raised people from the dead. He did healings. He did miraculous provision. One of the great things about Jesus is He has the power to provide for you. And that's one of the ways that we know He is a prophet who can speak to you. See, just like I was lost in the mountains and needed a connection to the satellite, Jesus is our connection to the true Spirit of God. And in fact, we could even say it this way: because Jesus is your prophet, He wants you to know the will of God. He wants you to know the ways of God. So I don't know what you're looking for this week. I don't know what you're praying for today, but here's what I want to encourage you with. If you like sharing things online, you can share this. When you don't know your way, Jesus is your word. When you don't know your way, Jesus is your word. What kind of word do you need today? Do you need a word of healing? And you are trying to find out how you can get to the next step in your healing process? Do you need a word of hope to let you know it's going to be okay? Do you need a word of correction? Maybe there's something in your life right now that you know isn't right, but you're not sure how to change it. Listen, no matter what you need, Jesus is there for you. When you don't know your way, Jesus is your word. He's your prophet. You can listen to Him and trust Him. I'm Pastor Phillip with Outpost Church. You can find more information about the 95 Questions at 95questions.org. And stay tuned for more on this message and in the series right here on Facebook and YouTube on the Outpost Church channels. Until next time, God bless you. We'll see you then.